Good day, Peanutman, out here on the street, sitting in the home of the ghostwriter of this book right here. You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me, Antonio McCloud, ghostwriter of the Machiavelli album. What's going on, brother?
What's going on?
Man, I mean, you know, I was out selling peanuts one day. He ain't one of them important dudes. And he ran up on me. He said, Peanutman, I got something for you. I said, okay. I always respect the man who do stuff. So before we get deep in this stuff, tell me a little bit about ghostwriter. When did you publish the book?
I published the book 2017. It had to be a summer month. It was June by the time I published it. June of 2017.
So we're in Winston-Salem. You were born and raised in Winston-Salem, South Side. I did read this part where you had two loving and caring grandmothers. They gave you two different worlds. And you wanted to be a thug. You just had to be a little thug. Huh? Take me back to the little boy. Mom and dad, from the book, moved to Charlotte. You I laughed when you said you go to, I think it was your father's side, and they would be cussing. Yeah. And then you come back home and you tried that, but that didn't quite work out for you, huh?
No, not at Grandma Cat house. No, that didn't work out at all. I got my butt beat.
So being a thug, I guess you learned early, being a true thug carries certain risks. Is it safe to say? I mean, you got a butt whipping because Grandma Cat, this is not how we roll here.
Yeah, that's right. That's how she was.
You know, and I guess I'm saying when we talk to young people today, you know, everybody want to be hard. Everybody want to be tough. But there are consequences to being tough. You got an opportunity to do something that a lot of people, ghostwriter. When I say ghostwriter, for folk who are not familiar, break that down. You said, I'm a ghostwriter for Tupac Shakur.
Somebody who writes for an artist. You don't necessarily get credit as a ghostwriter if you write for artists. Normally, a ghostwriter gets paid $20,000 for an album under the table, but he don't get no credit on the album. You know, but this situation was supposed to be mapped out different. Like the copyright that I sent to the Library of Congress was a work made for hire, meaning they were supposed to go through the legalities of dealing with BMI, and give me my credit and my royalties because it was a work made for hire, but I never saw any money from it. It was just an act of piracy with the labels. You know, they used it, and then one particular instance, Tupac's publicists got permission from me for them to release the Machiavelli album. I don't understand why they needed permission because they had already used some of my lyrics on All Eyes on Me. So, you know, that conversation was, and she was trying to feel like she was trying to set me up, tell me I got to sue Death Row to get paid, which was a suicide mission. And and then Tupac's publicist was a Wake Forest alumnus, and she invited me to a Wake Forest football game to have a conversation with me outside the stadium. And my thinking was, I'm like, I'm not trying to stand in the way of Tupac, regardless if it's my lyrics or not. Yeah, of course they could release it.
So you, born and raised in Winston-Salem, makes the connection. When did you know that you had the skill to write?
Before I was approached to write for Biggie.
That's a new name. Wait a minute.
Notorious Big.
Right, but what I'm saying, we're talking Tupac.
Okay.
And we're talking Notorious B.I.G.
Okay.
And we're talking Antonio McCloud
Yeah.
in Winston-Salem.
Yeah. So I was writing R&B songs. I was recording R&B songs when I was 18, 19, 20. All I ever wrote was R&B songs. Never wrote a rap. Never wrote a rap until they approached me at the age of 21 about some ghostwriting.
So, why write the book? I mean, you didn't get any credit. You're making money. Why write the book?
I wrote the book because my life was threatened indirectly. It was not, it was not nobody saying, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of you." No, the black mob knocked out my car windows to send a message, and they put little small holes in the passenger side the same way the bullets came in to kill Tupac on the strip, on the Vegas Strip. They had those little holes in the passenger side, like, hey, like, you know, you ain't got long, you know. So then a guy sitting in the BMW, looked like he was from New York, watched me clean up my glass. And I always remember from being in the music industry that the BMW is a signature car for the black mob. So I put all that together, and I was like, okay, all right.
So if you're just tuning in, we're having a conversation, community talk out with the ghostwriter, the author of The Ghostwriter, Antonio McCloud. You ain't never had a friend like me. Why'd you name you ain't never had a friend like me? What am I missing? Is that something? I know some of Tupac stuff, but tell me about that. You ain't never had a friend like me. What that mean?
It was a conversation, a dialogue between me and Tupac. Like, me and Tupac never met, but certain things that was on the copyright, it wasn't necessarily a song. He would say it, you know, giving like a shout out to me. Like, it was this one instance where he said, because I put on the copyright, a chameleon trying to make a million. And he repeated that. He said, since I look like Tupac, I called myself a chameleon. So it's like, back then I looked like Tupac. And he said, chameleon trying to make a million, legit. But see, you ain't never had a friend like me was when Tupac talked about his enemies being my enemies and then my enemies being his enemies. Because what I gave Notorious Big was having him admit his involvement with that Quad City studio shooting of Tupac when he got shot the first time.
That's in the book.
I talked about me being in New York a month before that happened. I was doing a R&B song. I was doing a recording with Download Records. Shout out to Gary and Dwayne Clark out of Queens, Hollis, Queens. But Tupac got shot at the Quad City Studios a month later after I did recording in New York. I don't know what how that has anything to do with anything. I don't know. But I just stated in the book that I was there a month before it happened.
What has been the conversation since the book has been out? We're in 2023. The book came out about 2017. Yeah. What has been the conversation? It's available, I guess, pretty much Amazon, all the regular places, Barnes and Noble. What has the conversation been like for you? You, prior to us starting the recording, you said you wanted to tell your story before you left this earth. So what has the chatter or the conversation been like since releasing this book?
People say that what they gather from it is all you have to do is be yourself. And that's what they got from the book. And a lot of people say it's a collector's item. And a lot of people want me to sign a book, because they know that it's going to be worth money one day.
What do you say to the entertainment industry is a very powerful, it looks good, it looks sexy on the outside. But you've been on the inside. You were telling me tell me about the feds and the copywriting and the publishing, how all that played out.
I was at the School of the Arts doing volunteer acting. They were sending me messages at first.
They being the Fed.
They probably weren't like a federal agent. They had people talking to me, talking about, you're a ghostwriter? Like they just ask a question. And I'd be like, what's a ghostwriter? So I was like, I'm a writer. And then they'll walk off, and then I was approached by a particular guy. He had an apartment at the School of the Arts. And
what year was this?
2002.
Okay.
And so he finally said what he was there for. And he said, we're investigating the murders of Tupac and Biggie. And I was like, well, what do you want with me? We need to know what your lyrics actually mean. So when you talk about when Tupac said, load him up against the wall, close his eyes. Since you lie, you die. Goodbye. He was like, what does load him up on the wall mean? I said that was St. Valentine's Day murder when Al Capone killed other mob boss. He wanted to know what that load him up against the wall was about. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know what does dress his head mean. Like dress his head mean he actually did the autopsy, well, not the autopsy, but whatever they do to the people at the funeral home. That would dress his head mean. Mm-hmm. So, they asked me a ton of questions. I can't recall all of them, but it's like.
Did you find that strange?
Yeah, I did find it strange because I'm 6 years removed from this whole situation. I'm living my life, and why didn't never try to sue Death Row Bad Boy or Tupac's a Bigger Estate. I'm trying to see why they want to bring this back up again, because the thing about it is that you got two of the greatest rappers ever to live that are gone, but then you have this ghostwriter that was affiliated with both of them that's still existing. So it's like, I think these are the reasons why they wanted to either pay attention to me or ask me questions or put the heat on me, so it's been heat ever since. Ever since I spent time with this Fed. I spent time with this guy for 3 months.
At the time, did you know he was Fed?
Yeah.
Or he was affiliated with the Fed?
Yeah. And it was other. He pointed out a guy that was on a call one time, told me he was an investor. And then it was other people, important people that I met through him. And, you know, by the time they had the contract in front of me, signed over my copyright, my publishing, I just realized that this ain't about the investigations of Tupac and Biggie. This is about them trying to make some money.
So you were approached by the Fed. If you're just tuning in, it's Community Talk. We're hanging out with Antonio McCloud. He's the author of this book right here, Ghostwriter. You ain't never had a friend like me. Ghostwriter of the album, the Machiavelli album by Tupac Shakur. So this is what, 2002? The Feds approach you, we're having conversations, they're introducing you to people, blase, blase. What do they want with Antonio? Were you facing possible prison time? What did they want out of you other than the publishing rights or filming in? What did they want? Looking back 2002, what did the Feds want with you?
Obviously, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, some things should be left alone. That was my past.
Okay.
You know, they were bringing up old stuff that really, to be honest with you, I've never really wanted to be a part of something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the people that was asking me to do something were powerful people, and I feared what would happen if I didn't do what they asked me to do. You know, so I'm like, you got your powers that be within the city, you know, and you don't have no muscle. You don't have no clout. You don't have no power. You don't even have a gun. You know, all you could do is try to appease and do what they're asking you to do.
So you signed over your rights, your publishing rights. Mm-hmm. So the Feds, based on our conversation, the monies that are made that would have been routed to you, you signed over. Now we fast forward from 2002 to 2017. You publish a book. You know, in the entertainment industry, I'm pretty sure you've heard this term right here, 360. So do they have their hands in the book, or are you able to go on now and do what you enjoy doing, writing, and because you're still writing for people, correct?
Yeah, but I don't. It's more like work to me. Okay. I don't necessarily enjoy doing that type of thing no more. The last song I did was a favor for a friend. You know, it was a recording of a song that I wrote, and you know, he is a big time producer. I'd already did a poem for him that's on the radio. It's called Black Woman, and it's getting radio airplay. And they recorded it in the studio, put some music behind it. So, I mean, there's people still asking for my services. Sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't. It all depends on what's going into that. Like, you get a certain feeling about something and you run with it, and then the other thing they ask you to do is just like work, and you're not really into it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
so writing is, for you, writing is an emotion. If you feel it, you're there.
Yeah.
If you don't get that vibe,
I don't get that vibe. It's more like work to me.
You're 49.
Yeah.
Coming out of Winston-Salem, wanting to be a young thug. You get up and close over your lifetime, up and close with real thugs.
Yeah, with real thugs. Yeah.
what's different from what the little boy Antonio McCloud wanted to be, the thug, learning how to cuss, being a ball player, being bigger than the other kids. Looking back, what have you learned about what you thought you wanted to be, a thug, and dealing with thugs?
By the time I was 7 years old, my mama got married, and I got chastised in the household to the point to where I didn't want to get in trouble no more. In my book, I talk about being chased by the cops at 6 years old. It's like by the time I was 10 or 11, those problems or those troubles were not a part of my life no more. He got a hold of me. He was an Army Ranger. To this day, he's also a 33rd degree Mason.
What's his name?
Rayvon Senior. Rayvon Hawkins Senior. And
so he got the thug out of you.
He got the thug out of me, but guess what though? The real gangsters out there, they look at me as an asset. They know that I got street in me, but my mannerisms are that of like a type of mafia dude. Like they have the right type of mannerisms to be approachable in that realm. However, those black mob and Italian mafia, they're not dealing with people that's like idiots or do stupid stuff. They don't deal with them type of people. Mm-hmm. They'd rather deal with a nice guy with mannerisms that ain't afraid to get street. That's how it is. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? You don't see no mob boss argue with somebody in the street. They'll let them argue, but they'll just send a hit later. You understand what I'm saying? That's how the real mafia types operate. Mm-hmm. Comment was made, a thug will steal a purse, but a gangster will bring that purse back to that woman. You understand what I'm saying? So, it's like, I got a street demeanor, but I'm not out here doing stupid stuff.
So it sounds like to me the music that's coming out. Let's talk about for a minute the music that's coming out. You've been on the R&B side. You've been on the on the rap side. At the end of the day, it's all about money.
It's all about money.
It's all about what you sell. Uh-huh. What do you say to the young people that, like you said, a record company label is not getting ready to walk around with his pants hanging down, acting thuggish and doing stupid stuff because they're about that paper. So what do you've been there. Most people I know in radio, I had the pleasure of running Winston-Salem State University radio station and the FCC, which is the Federal Communications. And if you worked in radio, they'd always say, if they walked in on you better have your stuff together. I remember one day my boss and I were sitting in the office and the gentleman walked in. He said, "Who's in charge?" And I said, "Well, I'm just young, cocky." I said, "Depends on who wants to know." "Probably him." He says, "Well, I'm from the FCC." All jokes stopped right there because I knew they meant business. What do you say to the young people that they've been sold this? You thug, walk around with guns, showing a whole bunch of money. What do you say to that young man? You've been on that side.
Well, I can tell you this. Hip hop is spiritual. Unless you called to do this work, don't get involved with it. I mean, you graduate from high school, if you're not going to college, get you a full-time job, work hard, get you a 401k, eventually get you a house, and you know, stay away from these type of trappings. You understand what I'm saying? If you go into college, you know, study hard. You know, get A's and B's. Make sure that you're at the top of your class so you can get a job when you come out of college. But this is not based on what happened to other rappers, some of the biggest rappers and some of the smaller rappers. You know, this ain't the thing to get involved with. It ain't. You know, and and then the thing about it is, being involved with sports when I was young, I wish somebody would have told me, whether it was sports, entertainment, or music. It's like, you know, hey, don't get involved with that. I wish somebody would have told me, because even when I was playing sports, it was politics, the music industry, politics, movie industry.
So you mean I don't get, because I sold 1 million records, I don't get to call all the shots?
You're being controlled by the label. I mean, you're being controlled by the streets. I mean, you know, you're being controlled by the label. You know, you paying gang members or heads of gangs to keep them off of you, because you have so much money and you have fame. Not only don't they really want you around, but the thing about it is that most of the time you're doing something they can't do, and they gonna put the pressure on you. I mean, the streets gonna put the pressure on you, you know, and then you dealing with the label, you paying lawyers, managers, and you got to pay the label back for recording time and all that stuff. You know, the only way you're really making a lot of money is when you're doing shows. That's your money, you know. So it's like, I mean, you know, if God don't have a call on your life, don't get involved with hip hop. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean,
hip hop ain't your friend, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, so I mean, I was called to do this work.
I got you. This is Antonio McCloud, ghostwriter. His book is available Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, just wherever you sign books. What you want the people to know? You're 49. Did you expect to see 49? You'll soon be 50, Antonio.
No, I didn't expect to see 49. And when I turned 21, I got on my knees in my family's beauty salon and thank God that I was able to see the age of 21. That's how serious it is being a black man in America. Mm-hmm. You know, you fighting with your own people. You fighting against the white man's system. You fighting against the women that's trying to, you know, like hold you back from being a prosperous man. You know, you fighting against so many different elements, you know, so any of those three things can get you killed. Mm-hmm. You know, the wrong situation can get you out of here. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So I try to limit the people I deal with, because I don't want what their problems is to come back on me, you know. But in the last 3 years, I hadn't been making wise decisions about that. You know, but it's just you got so many different elements that can put you in the grave real early.
Ghostwriter. You ain't never had a friend like me. He is Antonio McCloud, ghostwriter of the Machiavelli album. Thank you, sir. Continued success.
Thank you.